Hi everyone and welcome back. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Mark and today I am doing a Disney tag video. Before we get started, a Disney tag video is essentially a Q&A style video, but completely themed around Disney, so I'm going to get to talk about all my favourite things to do with Disney. I was actually tagged, and that's where the tag bit comes in, by Olivia from Queen of the Mansion, and I'm going to pop a YouTube link down below for you to go and check out her answers because they were absolutely amazing, and she tagged me to answer the same 18 questions, which is what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to tag a few more YouTubers at the end of the video so that they can answer them too. Now, I will add in one tiny caveat for me personally, just because a lot of my answers have changed over the last year, so what I would have said last year and what I'm going to say this year are completely different because of the fact that I have now got a daughter and I'm a dad, and so I'll explain why as we go through the questions, but yes, some of my answers have changed a little bit. So let's get into the questions. Question number one is, which Disney movie or scene would you most like to be in? And I think, again, straight away, I kind of feel like I'm going to cheat a little bit. My sort of most desired scene was always Be Our Guest, because it's a big Broadway style number, you know, you've got your kick line and all the bright lights and all of that kind of stuff and all the dancing. But then I've actually since been in a production of Beauty and the Beast, so I kind of got to do that scene, so I kind of feel like I've done it. So I thought I'd pick a different one, and ironically this one has been affected by the fact I now have a daughter, and because the film has a particular resonance for us now, and that would be attending the lantern lighting and all the lanterns from Tangled. And I'll get into a little bit more as to why Tangled has become quite a big part of our lives further in the video for those of you that don't already know. Question number two is, what is your best moment in a Disney park? For me, this one's relatively easy. Now, I say relative because there are so many incredible moments that we've had over the years. It could be a little bit difficult to pick one, but this one will always stick out as being extra special and extra magical. Essentially, Mark and I had just upgraded from our civil partnership to a marriage, which was a thing in the UK, and so we took a honeymoon trip to celebrate over to Disney World. We had our little honeymoon badges and it was all very cute and all very lovely, and we went to meet my favourite character, which is Stitch. He's my absolute favourite, hence that. We went to meet him, and you know, we had our photo pass pictures with him, and that was all very lovely. But then as we were walking away, he spotted the honeymoon badges, so called us back and just made the most amazing fuss of us. He was fussing over our badges, he was posing us into pictures, like putting our hands together and just being really, really adorable. And it was just such an incredible moment. I could see that Mark was starting to get a little bit teary because he could see how happy I was, because I was literally just like, yeah, craziness. And obviously, and then as we were sort of walking away and we were all done with the pictures, all the people waiting to meet Stitch were just like, oh, congratulations, that's awesome, and being really supportive and lovely. And I just remember feeling so touched by the fact that these random strangers were being so supportive and accepting. And, you know, for a gay couple, that can sometimes be a thing where you don't feel accepted. So to be in that moment and to have all of that happen, and for those people that were waiting not to get fed up that they were kept waiting because Stitch was being crazy with us, and I'm going to put in a couple of pictures, but because they genuinely wanted us to enjoy that moment, and it was just something so special, and I'll never ever forget it. So yeah, that will be my moment. Question number three, which non-Disney song reminds you of Disney? This one was incredibly tough, and if I'm honest, you could loosely argue that it's not really non-Disney in the sense that it plays on a non-Disney attraction, but the first time I ever rode Rock and Roller Coaster at Disneyland Paris, the song that played was Dude Looks Like a Lady, which, so now whenever I hear that song, it makes me think of Rock and Roller Coaster and therefore Disney. That's about as good as an answer I can give, I'm afraid. I really can't think of any other songs that make me go, oh, that makes me think of a Disney park. Question number 4 was, when was your first trip to Disney? Mine was actually back in '98. My parents took me and my younger brother and we went out to Florida for 2 weeks. So that was my first ever Disney experience and it was amazing. Hence why I'm still doing all of this stuff now. Question number 5, which Disney character would be your best friend? Now, I'm not entirely sure I need to dignify this with an answer because I think it's kind of obvious if you haven't guessed with the Stitch and the Stitch shirt. But yeah, it's Stitch. He would be my best friend because he is the best. He's amazing. I love him so much because he is so mischievous, but I also love a character that has that sort of bad to good story arc as well. You know, he has got that mischievous side, but he has got a heart of gold at the same time. I think he's amazing. He's a wonderful character. Question number 6 was, which Disney sidekick best suits your personality? Now, I really didn't have a clue for this one. I actually had to ask my husband Mark to give me some help and some thoughts on it because he knows my personality quite well. And the one he suggested was Mushu. And the reason he said Mushu, and I'm not sure if this is a compliment or not, is because Mushu is quite sassy, he's got a bit of an attitude, he can be a bit naughty as well, a bit like Stitch really. So as a sidekick, yeah, I could definitely go with Mushu as my sidekick. I can't think of anyone else. I'd be interested actually, for those of you that do watch the videos, what do you think? Who do you think a good sidekick or Disney sidekick for me would be? Pop it in the comments. I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think. Question number 7 is, who is your favourite Disney princess? Now, this is one of those ones that has changed a little bit. I would have always said that Belle was my favourite princess for years, because she was. But since having my daughter and the moment we found out that our daughter was here, the film Tangled has become a much bigger part of our lives. Not that it wasn't before, but it has become a huge part of our lives. And now, after re-watching Tangled a lot, I just absolutely love Rapunzel. I think she's a wonderful, wonderful character. Question number 8 is, which Disney movie or scene never fails to make you cry? Right, can we just address this, okay? Because you tell me a film that doesn't make you cry. Oh wait. Like, no, really? For me, and they all do. I'll confess that I am a big softie, and so is my husband. And so we end up crying at pretty much every single Disney movie at some point, even in the most happy times, because we get really good happy tears as well. So this one was incredibly tough to actually pick a particular movie or scene that never fails to make us cry. But there is one that will always stick out in my mind, and that is, and I don't even want to say it, it's the death of Mufasa in The Lion King. My parents took me to see The Lion King at the cinema with some friends for my 10th birthday as a birthday treat. And we obviously thought we were going to see a joyous Disney movie, which in general it is, apart from that one particular scene. And I still remember the sucker punch to the gut when Mufasa is killed. And there was a little tiny part of me as well, obviously sat right next to my dad, thinking, what if it was my dad? And literally, I just sobbed. I think I actually sobbed for the rest of the movie. I was just completely and utterly distraught. And so that film, above any other of the Disney movies, will, you know, that one always hurts the most, I guess. That one always makes me cry the hardest and has that real emotional resonance for me. and that's why we actually don't watch it very often, because we both get very, very emotional watching that scene. Question number 9 is, what is your favourite Disney movie? This one is another one that was quite difficult to pick, because I have favourites for different reasons, you know? But I think my overall favourite will always be Beauty and the Beast. Purely because, again, it was another one that I was taken to the cinema by my mum to see for a birthday treat. I can't remember how old I was. You can probably work that out now, you know? And I just remember, it was the first Disney movie I actually remember going to see. My mum tells me that they'd taken me to see previous Disney movies, but I just don't remember them. I think I was a lot younger. And so Beauty and the Beast is the first one that I actually remember going to see. And I can still remember that wonderment as the camera pans through the trees to see the castle. And I just remember being so enthralled by it, this incredible scene, and knowing that it was actually drawn by people, you know, they sat and drew that and made it move, was just amazing to me. And that was probably the birthplace of my obsession with Disney over the years. I think that was the moment that really captured it for me. So it kind of makes sense that Beauty and the Beast will always be my favourite movie. Question number 10, which Disney movie is overrated? I actually don't really want to answer this question, because I don't think that any of the films are particularly overrated per se. I don't want to be negative about any of them, because I do quite like most of them, if not all of them. However, there is one that sticks out that's always kind of been a bit of an odd one for me, just because everyone seems to go on about it being this hilarious comedy, and I just don't get it in that sense. It's a fine movie. I'm not, you know, ragging on the movie. I don't really enjoy it quite as much as what everyone else seems to. So my choice for that one would be The Emperor's New Groove. I think for me, a lot of the comedy in it felt very of its time. So I watch it and I just kind of go, nah, it's not really that funny. Sorry, don't hate. Well, there's going to be loads of comments now, isn't there? But yeah, so my one would be Emperor's New Groove. Question number 11, which Disney movie is most underrated? This one for me is absolutely 100% easy to say, because I just don't think the film gets in anywhere near enough love. It deserves way, 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 way more love than it gets, and that is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. That film is an absolute masterpiece. Like, it is probably Alan Menken's best work ever, easily. And the reason I say that it's underrated is because obviously there are lots of Disney movies, and a lot of those movies then end up in the parks and you get to meet the characters, and there are shows around them, and some of them are on Broadway and on the West End and all these wonderful things. And it just seems to me that Hunchback never really gets a look in anywhere. And for me, if there was any Disney movie that should be on Broadway, it's Hunchback of Notre Dame. If there is any Disney movie that should be in Paris, in Disneyland Paris, it should be Hunchback of Notre Dame. At least have the characters there. It just seems like it doesn't get used enough, and I don't know if that's because audiences don't like it as much, so they don't want to see them, or I don't know. I just feel like more people need to get on board with the love of what is a stunning, stunning film. Question number 12, what is your favourite Disney song? This is the one that has changed for me massively. For years, my favourite Disney song was always When You Wish Upon a Star. We even walked down the aisle to it, me and my husband, when we got married. You know, that's how important it is to us, that song. However, it all changed on September 10th last year when our daughter was born. And some of you might know the story already, but I'm going to share it again anyway, because I can. And essentially, we were driving down to the hospital where Lisa, who was our surrogate for our little girl, had gone into labour. And we were driving along and we got the phone call from Darren, who is her husband, to say that Sophie was here. And he gave us the exact time as well that she was born, which I thought was really lovely. And I hung up the phone and I was looking at the clock in the car, and obviously we had music on, and I realised that the song that was playing at the exact moment that she was born was I See the Light from Tangled, which again, that like kind of gives you a clue in as to why Tangled has become such a huge part of our lives now. But yeah, so that song, just I hear it and I cry almost every single time I hear that song, and I'm starting to well up now, so I'm probably going to move on rapidly. But yeah, it's such an incredible song and it's just a massive moment in our lives. So yeah, that's now my favourite Disney song. Question number 13, what is your least favourite Disney song? And again, I don't really want to be negative, but there is one or two actually that is probably going to get me some hate in the comments, I'm sure. But I really don't like Bare Necessities from the Jungle Book. I know it quite often, quite routinely gets voted as the #1 Disney song in like those fan poll things, but I just don't like it. It drives me crazy. I would actually rather listen to It's a Small World, and those of you that know will know that is a pretty bold statement to make. But yeah, I don't know. It just gets under my skin and drives me crazy. Sorry. Question number 14. Who is your most memorable Disney villain? Maleficent. That's it. She is the mistress of all evil. She is bad-ass. She's incredible. Maleficent is easily the best Disney villain. Fight me. Come on. She is easily the best. Hello, Fantasmic. She literally rises and turns into a dragon right before your eyes. No other Disney villain does that in a Disney show. She's just the best. No argument on that one. Question number 15. Which classic Disney ride is your favourite? Now, I had to really think about this one because I had to really decide what I count as a classic ride and what I count as a modern ride, because some of the more modern rides have been there 20 plus years and so therefore would be a classic, surely. But anyway, I digress. Mine would be Snow White's Scary Adventures. Mainly because the number of times I've been on it with people who don't take the hint from the title, Scary Adventures, and come off and go, oh my god, that was horrifying! It was horrible! And I'm like, that's why it's Snow White's Scary Adventures. And I also found out a little bit of information about it, but those dark rides in Fantasyland, the idea is that you are riding from the perspective of the lead character. So in that moment, you are Snow White, and that's why it's called Snow White's Scary Adventures. You're meant to be Snow White. Similarly with Peter Pan, you are supposed to be Peter Pan flying around. And that's why for years the actual lead characters didn't appear in the attraction itself. And it kept confusing people. They're like, it's called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Where is she? And that was because the idea was that you were the character. And there you go. There's a little bit of information for you. A bit of geeky knowledge for you. Question number 16. Which modern Disney ride is your favourite? This one is relatively easy for me. It's Tower of Terror. It has been for absolutely years. I can't wait to see if they do something that I find as immersive as Tower of Terror. I'm looking at you, Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, Tower of Terror is one of those attractions that the storytelling and the theming and everything about it is so well executed that even now, I rode it back on my very first visit in '98, even now it still makes me nervous when I get on that ride. I still get anxious. I still grip onto the handles as the lift starts to move. It still gets me all worked up. It is incredible. I love it. Question number 17, what is your favourite Disney music score? Again, this is one where I have so many favourites because I absolutely love movie score music. So I'm a huge John Williams fan, I'm a huge Hans Zimmer fan, I love James Newton Howard, there are so many. Anyway, I digress. Again, I do that a lot. But my absolute favourite Disney score would have to be from The Lion King. The work that Hans Zimmer did is just absolutely beautiful, and obviously the work that Lebo M also included on the soundtrack. The score is just so beautiful, it works so well, and I find that that's one of the scores that really helps elevate the emotion they want you to feel in the movie, so hence the tears, which always happen. It's just absolutely incredible. I can listen to that on its own without watching the movie and still bawl my eyes out, but I can just listen to the score music alone and thoroughly enjoy it. And finally, we got there to question number 18. What is your favourite live action Disney movie? Mine, I'm going to say Saving Mr. Banks. Because I love those moments where you get to see Walt interacting with P.L. Travers. You get to see those moments where they go back to Disneyland in its original form, and it's that Disney heritage side of it that I absolutely love. And obviously the story of how Mary Poppins came to the screen and how hard Walt Disney had to work to secure the rights to even do the film. You know, that's quite famous. Everyone kind of knows about that, I think. But to have the extra detail layered on is something spectacular. Now, I know it's not 100% historically accurate. They may have changed things a little bit and moulded things to help progress the story. But it really gives a new perspective on Mary Poppins itself, especially all the stuff about P.L. Travers' history when she was in Australia. I find all of that absolutely fascinating, and that movie just really touched me. I absolutely loved it. So yes, that's going to be my favourite. That's going to do it. That's all my 18 questions. Now I just need to tag a few people. So, and I have got a few because there are so many wonderful people, and I cannot wait to hear your answers. I love watching these videos. I can't wait to hear everyone's answers and see what everyone thinks. And I also can't wait to see what you guys watching think. Pop your comments down below if you disagree, if you agree, if you think I'm completely crazy. Pop it in the comments below. Let's have a discussion because I absolutely love talking about this stuff. So, my first person that I'm going to tag is my very dear friend Lisa Lum of Lisa Lum, and there'll be a link down below for her. The second person I'm going to tag is going to be my friend Jordan from Cupcakes and Coasters. The third person I'm going to tag is Charlotte from Charlotte in Wonderland, because I absolutely adore her videos and I cannot wait to see what she thinks. The fourth channel I'm going to tag is going to be Liam and Mitch from the WALTway. I've just finished watching a lot of their vlogs going over to Florida. These boys are absolutely wonderful. Please go and check them out. Again, I'll put a link down below. And then finally, another couple who I absolutely love watching because they're hilarious. They have the most amazing time. And the innuendo is real with these guys, and that's Mr. David and Mr. Ian of Mr. David and Mr. Ian channel. So go check them out as well. I cannot wait to see their answers. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, click on that like button, and if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye!